Hi guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to the YouTube channel. Wait, what? Did you hear that? Is that the sound of a baby crying, or is it a laugh? Well, this might have given you an idea of the topic we're about to discuss. Yep, today we're going to discuss if there's going to be any baby boom after the corona crisis or not. So let's spill the beans, shall we? Many prosperous nations throughout the world have seen a drop in births since the COVID-19 epidemic began. In 2020, the fertility rate in the United States fell to its lowest level ever. Chinese births fell 15%, and France had the fewest kids born since World War II. Meanwhile, the Nordic countries of Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland have all kept their birth rates, and some are puzzled to be in the middle of a pandemic baby boom. Iceland has failed to boost capacity in its maternity units after a whopping 16.5% higher births than average in the second half of 2021. Finland has witnessed a 7% increase in births, while Denmark and Norway have had increases of 3 and 5% respectively. Sweden has had a very small 1% growth. Experts are perplexed by the uptick, although the fact that there are a variety of reasons why the Nordic countries may have witnessed a smaller drop in births than other countries. Northern Europe, for example, was not as badly affected by the virus as its southern neighbors, and significant financial inducements for families has helped buffer future parents from the pandemic's economic impacts. What is the source of this phenomenon? What can nations with low birth rates, such as the United States, learn from the Nords' amazing reproductive resilience? Fertility has rebounded. The Nordic countries, like many Western countries, have been experiencing a reproductive crisis for decades. Experts believe this is partially due to delayed fertility as potential parents decided whether to focus on school, professional advancements, or living independently before establishing a family. Experts expect that Iceland will have 9% more babies in 2021 than typical, based on most current prenatal scans. The surge of infants isn't the joyous occasion you'd anticipate thanks to midwife shortages and persistent COVID limitations. What's going on here is amazing, the expert says. Meanwhile, according to Toma Sobotka of the Vienna University of Demography, Finland, has observed a continuous increase in fertility rates since the commencement of the coronavirus epidemic. However, Nissen of the University of Turku cautioned that attributing to the rise of the pandemic may be premature. Preliminary findings of her research show an increase in births across all areas of Finland and all age categories, except women under 25. It can be attributed to the various measures taken by the Nordic countries, like couples, were protected from the economic difficulties encountered by their colleagues in other industrialized nations because to strengthen social safety nets, which included initiatives to relieve the cost of motherhood. The lessons might be valuable for a variety of countries attempting to mitigate the impacts of rapidly aging populations, such as budgetary erosion and less economic development. Across nearly the whole Nordic area, the number of children born has stayed consistent or even grown, says Nora Sanchez-Gassen, a research scholar at the Stockholm-based Nordregio Institute, which will release a paper on the issue in March. This has been regarded as an indication of couples' faith in the social safety net and the Nordic economy's capacity to weather the present situation, says the report. Many media sources and commentators anticipated that the COVID epidemic will result in massive economic closures, and Remain orders in the April of 2020 resulted in the baby boom. However, it appears that the reverse has occurred. Birth rates have fallen in many high-income nations as a result of the crisis, according to a recent study. From 2016 through the beginning of 2021, Arnstein Asve, a lecturer of political and social science at Bocconi University of Italy, and his colleagues examined birth rates in 22 high-income nations, including the United States. They discovered that in the last months of 2020, And the early months of 2021, 7 of these nations exhibited significant statistical decreases in birth rates when compared to the same time in prior years. Hungary, Italy, Spain, and Portugal, some of the most significant losses were 8.5, 9.1, 8.4, and 7% respectively. According to ASVE, the United States witnessed a 3.8% reduction, but it was not statistically important because the pandemic's impacts were more evenly distributed across the country, and also because the research had only data until December 2020. The study was published in the publications of the National Academy of Sciences USA. Within a year, birth rates fluctuate seasonally, and many of the nations studied had been experiencing declining rates for years before the epidemic. The decreases started 9 months after World Health Organization declared a health emergency on January 30th, 2020, and they were considerably more dramatic. ASVE says, "We are extremely convinced that now the impact for those nations is genuine. Even if they may have had a little declining tendency before the epidemic, we are very certain that the pandemic had an influence. The most plausible cause for these changes, according to ASVE, are the uncertainty connected with the worldwide pandemic and its effects on families' economic conditions. People don't comprehend the sickness since it is unfamiliar to them. Many individuals will see their career chances deteriorate, which will have an impact on their income," he predicted. "You may not be able to completely avoid having children, but you may be able to postpone it till you perceive that things have improved. Many demographers have seen comparable drops in the aftermath of catastrophic catastrophes, such as the financial crisis of 2008 and the 1918 influenza epidemic. They are nonetheless notable. We value your time, so stay till the end. Just a quick reminder, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, fam." Cohen's research, published in a recent draft article that has yet to be peer-reviewed, found that birth rates in Florida and Ohio fell during the epidemic. He discovered steeper falls in countries with a higher proportion of COVID patients and lesser mobility. Cohen pointed out that the PNAS paper covers data up to December 2020 in the United States and that more recent figures show a steeper fall. It remains to be seen if high-income nations will witness large increases in birth rates in the next months and years. Early indications point to a resurgence in deliveries from pregnancies that began in July 2020, following the first round of COVID illnesses in hard-hit nations in spring 2020. However, later waves may have killed more individuals to delay further births. The long-term consequences of people having fewer infants during the epidemic are unknown, according to ASVE. The occurrences might result in an economic boom similar to the Roaring Twenties following the 1918 influenza epidemic, or it might lead to two different recoveries, with some families less inclined to have children as a result of the COVID epidemic and its economic consequences, while others who were less impacted or even benefited are more likely to do so. A third option is that the decreases will be a little more than a statistical blip, having minimal impact on the population as a whole. In the current analysis, a few countries, notably numerous Nordics, experienced marginally positive developments in birth rates, but these were not statistically relevant. Although it is very early to conclude better safety nets might have mitigated some of the uncertainty involved in having kids during the epidemic. Because of the poor quality of information available, the researchers limited their investigation to high-income nations. Women in wealthier nations are also more likely to have access to contraceptives, as well as better opportunity and agency. So the birth of infants might be a bust for bigger economies, but it was a boom for Nordic countries. So in the present scenario, it seems that to gain a baby boom in developed countries like the USA looks like a way to go. What's your take on that? Let me know in the comments. Till we meet again, keep showering love and your family safe. And don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get future notifications from us. It's your friend signing off. Adios.